What if tomorrow morning, the news wasn't about politics or celebrities, but about a rock? A really, really big rock. Imagine scientists discovering an asteroid the size of Mount Everest, and it's on a direct collision course with Earth. The impact isn't scheduled for next week or even tomorrow. It's set for exactly 12 months from now. That's enough time to truly, deeply, and properly panic. The world's leaders would stand behind podiums, their faces plastered on every screen, trying to project a sense of calm that no one actually feels. Their words would be carefully chosen, full of phrases like global cooperation and exploring all options, but their eyes would betray them. Meanwhile, social media would absolutely detonate. You'd see countdown clocks ticking down to the exact second of impact. Conspiracy theories would run wild. Was it a government experiment gone wrong? A message from another dimension? Influencers, never missing a beat, would start selling limited edition end-of-the-world merchandise. T-shirts with clever slogans, mugs with pictures of the asteroid. It would be absurd, but people would buy it. Ancient prophecies, long forgotten in dusty books, would suddenly be pulled from the shelves and dissected on primetime television. Religious leaders would see a surge in attendance, their sermons filled with talk of final judgment and redemption. While all this is happening, the world's billionaires would start to quietly disappear. No public announcements, just a sudden silence from their usually noisy social media accounts. Rumors would spread about luxurious, high-tech underground bunkers in New Zealand or the Swiss Alps, stocked with enough supplies to outlast an apocalypse. But for most of us, for the ordinary people, life would have to go on. Because rent is still due even during an extinction event. The mortgage doesn't care about a giant space rock. So we'd get up, we'd go to work, we'd sit in traffic, all under the shadow of impending doom. It would create this bizarre, surreal new normal. Every sunrise would suddenly feel different. It would seem louder, brighter, heavier. Each morning light would be a stark, beautiful reminder of what we were about to lose. The simple act of drinking coffee would become a profound experience. You'd notice the steam rising from the cup, the warmth in your hands, and you'd think this might be one of the last times. The first few weeks would be chaos. Supermarket shelves would be stripped bare. People would hoard toilet paper, canned goods, batteries, anything that gave them a sliver of an illusion of control. Survivalist blogs and YouTube channels would become the most trusted sources of information. Everyone would suddenly be an expert on building a fallout shelter and purifying water. But after that initial wave of panic buying, a strange routine would set in. The world would adapt, as it always does. As the months ticked by, humanity would begin to split into distinct camps. First, there are the preparers. These are the people who take every warning seriously. They'd spend their life savings on freeze-dried food, water filters, and reinforced basements. Their weekends would be spent practicing emergency drills with their families. They'd find a sense of purpose, a mission, in the face of oblivion. They are the doers, the ones who refuse to go down without a fight, even if the fight seems utterly hopeless. Then you have the deniers. They'd insist the whole thing is a hoax. It's just the government trying to control us, they'd say. It's a media fabrication to boost ratings. They'd share grainy videos and questionable articles proving the asteroid is fake, or that it's much smaller than reported, or that it will burn up in the atmosphere. Denial is a powerful coping mechanism, and for many, it would be the only way to get out of bed in the morning. Believing the lie would be easier than facing the terrifying truth. And finally, there's the third group, perhaps the largest one. The livers. These are the people who look at the 12-month deadline and decide that if their time is limited, they're not going to waste another second. They would quit the jobs they hate. They'd confess their love to the person they've been secretly admiring for years. They'd max out their credit cards to travel the world, to see the pyramids, the Great Wall, the Amazon rainforest, before it's all gone. The world would see a strange, beautiful, and chaotic transformation. The number of weddings would triple. People would rush to formalize their love, to stand before their friends and family and declare their commitment, knowing that forever now has a very specific expiration date. Paradoxically, birth rates would spike. In the face of ultimate extinction, the primal human urge to create new life, to leave some kind of legacy, would become overwhelming. On a global scale, something miraculous would happen. Wars would just pause. Decades-old conflicts over land, resources, and ideology would suddenly seem so incredibly petty. Borders would become meaningless lines on a map. Old enemies would find themselves working together, sharing scientific data and resources in a desperate last-ditch effort to divert the asteroid. For the first time in history, humanity would have a common enemy, and it wouldn't be each other. But as the final months turned into final weeks, a new feeling would settle over the planet. It would be heavier than the initial panic, deeper than the fear. It would be a profound, collective silence. The frantic energy of the livers would fade. The arguments of the deniers would grow quiet. The preparations of the preparers would be complete. There would be nothing left to do but wait. The world would become a quiet, contemplative place. People would spend more time with their families, talking, sharing stories, holding hands. The sound of children's laughter in a park would feel like the most precious music in the universe. The silence wouldn't be empty. It would be full of unspoken goodbyes, of quiet gratitude, of a shared, solemn acceptance. Then comes the final day. Impact Day. The world doesn't erupt in screams. There's no mass hysteria in the streets. Instead, the world holds its breath. People gather on rooftops, on hillsides, in open fields, all looking up at the sky. Families huddle together in their living rooms, holding each other tight. They are not waiting for a miracle. They are simply waiting to face the end together. The air is thick with a strange peace, the kind that comes only when all hope is lost and all you have left is the present moment. The final countdown echoes in everyone's mind. 10, 9, 8. You can feel the vibration of the planet bracing itself. 7, 6, 5. You close your eyes. You think of everyone you've ever loved. 4, 3, 2, 1. And then, nothing. A deafening silence. People open their eyes. The sun is still shining. The birds are still singing. A few minutes pass, then an hour. News reports start trickling in, frantic and disbelieving. The asteroid didn't hit. It narrowly missed. A last-minute, unpredictable gravitational pull from another celestial body had altered its trajectory just enough. It soared past Earth, a terrifyingly close shave, before disappearing back into the blackness of space. Civilization has survived. The world is saved. But there are no wild celebrations. No parades, no cheering in the streets like in the movies. People just stand there, blinking in the sunlight, looking at each other. Something broke anyway. Not the planet, but something inside us. The illusion of control, the comforting belief that we are the masters of our own destiny, is shattered forever. It never comes back. The world after the near miss is a different place. People don't just go back to their old lives. How could they? They remember the feeling of borrowed time. They remember looking at their children, their partners, their friends, and thinking it was the last time. They remember how fragile everything felt, how every single moment was infused with a profound, aching beauty. And for the first time, all of humanity agrees on one thing. Life is a gift. It's temporary. It's borrowed time, and wasting it on petty arguments, on jobs you hate, on fear, and on regret. That suddenly feels like the only unforgivable sin. The asteroid missed the Earth, but it hit humanity right in the soul. And we were never the same. Thanks for watching. If this story made you think, consider subscribing for more explorations into what makes us human. Stay curious,